For years, whenever I traveled, my backpack was reserved for a lightweight Micro Four Thirds system. For this climb up to mythical Mount Olympus, the plan was simple. Bring my OM system OM5 and the versatile 12 to 200mm lens, compact, lightweight, logical. But just before the trip, I wanted to change my perspective. I wanted that full frame look. So I broke my own rules. I grabbed the Lumix S5 II and a massive 24 to 105mm lens, gear that is usually reserved for studio and client work. In this video, we aren't just reading specs. I'll show you how this Studio Beast handles over 2000 meters of elevation, how I managed to carry it without my shoulder falling off, why we never actually reached the throne, and whether the Lumix S5 II is still one of the best hybrid cameras in 2026. Let's be honest, making the jump from a lightweight OM5 to the full-frame Lumix S5 II is something you definitely feel on your shoulder. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, why not just use the Lumix S9? It's essentially a miniaturized S5 II built exactly for travel and the outdoors. But for me, the S9 has one massive deal breaker: it has no EVF. When I'm on the field, I rely entirely on the electronic viewfinder to frame my shots and dial in my settings, especially in that harsh mountain sun. I only glance at the external screen just to double check that everything is fine. So for this kind of work, the lack of an EVF is a hard pass. But you know that feeling that adrenaline and the creative process just takes over. I was so hyped about shooting, constantly tweaking the V&D filter, switching from 30 to 60 FPS to capture those epic slow motion shots, that the gear actually gave me energy instead of slowing me down. Still, there was one technical challenge. The first real test for the excellent 24 to 105mm lens was the dense forest at the start of the climb. Its maximum aperture of f4 was the absolute lower limit for these conditions. But the second we broke through the tree line and stepped into the harsh mountain sun, this lens could finally breathe. And it showed why it's incredibly versatile. So, why exactly did I drag a massive full-frame camera up to 2100 meters? It really comes down to two things. First, the depth of field. To get the exact same background blur as this full-frame f4 lens on Micro Four Thirds system, you would essentially need an f2 zoom lens. And let's face it, those ultra-fast MFT lenses are incredibly bulky and heavy, which defeats the purpose of a compact setup. Sure, in MFT world, we have fantastic compact alternatives like the Panasonic Leica 12 to 60mm f2.8 to f4 lens or the Lumix 12 to 35mm f2.8, but physically they still don't quite match the true full-frame f4 look and subject isolation. The second reason is what happens after the climb. For this trip, I decided to shoot in Cinelike D2 profile. Even though it's not vlog, the dynamic range this sensor delivered was simply fantastic. The transitions between the harsh shadows in the rocks and the blinding bright sky were preserved perfectly. Ultimately, full frame simply gives me more meat on the bone in post. Don't get me wrong, as much as I love my Micro Four Thirds system, and let's be real, because of their compactness, those cameras are incredible fun to shoot with. And you can take them anywhere. They do require surgical precision in the field. Every mistake shows, and it's much easier to end up with an unusable shot. Or maybe everything is my lack of proper skill. The Lumix S5 II, on the other hand, is so much more forgiving. The flexibility in post, when you are exhausted from climbing and don't have the luxury to spend minutes dialing in perfect exposure, is worth every extra gram in your backpack. But a camera on a mountain isn't just about image quality. It's about performance under pressure. Let's talk about the essentials: autofocus, stabilization and battery life. First, the phase hybrid autofocus tracking subjects while hiking uphill was absolutely flawless. Even straight out of the box on default settings, it locked onto my subjects without hunting. And of course, you can customize the AF sensitivity even further if you need to. There was 2 or 3 times during that day where, out of the blue, whole screen went defocused and focused again, but not while recording the shot. Then there's the IBIS, the in-body image stabilization. Lumix is famous for this, and it didn't disappoint. Walking over rocky terrain without a gimbal is usually a recipe for shaky, barely usable footage. But this IBIS, especially combined with those 60 frames per second slow motion shots, gave me incredible gimbal-like smoothness. As for the 24 to 105mm lens, it proved to be the ultimate all-in-one tool. It covers everything from wide, sweeping landscapes to beautiful background compression at 105mm. But what really surprised me was its macro capability. Capturing the tiny detail of the mountain, like pulling focus from a small bug on a yellow flower straight to the subject, or grabbing a quick shot of a tiny mushroom by the trail, was completely effortless. Finally, let's talk about battery life and durability. I used only 2 full batteries for the entire day. That is highly impressive considering the camera was mostly turned on in standby mode, ready to record at a moment's notice. While we didn't face extreme rain, knowing that this entire setup is fully weather sealed gave me complete peace of mind. I didn't have to baby the camera, I just focused on the climb. Finally, back to the main question from the beginning. The Lumix S5 Mark II in 2026. Is it outdated compared to all the new models? After this adventure, my answer is absolutely not. This is still one of the most versatile and reliable hybrid shooters on the market. Yes, you will feel it on your shoulder after a 10-hour hike, yes. The 24 to 105mm at f4 will force you to hunt for light in dense forest. But that image quality, stable autofocus, and the incredible rich file that handles whatever you throw at it in the edit, not to mention 6K open gate peace of mind, that just erases all the muscle soreness. Still, at the end of the day, gear is just a tool. What really matters are the stories we capture with it. And the story of what we faced on that mountain and how a film shot on this gear actually looks, you can watch all of that in my short documentary, The Untouched Throne. Check the video on your screen right now or find the link in the description below. Let me know in the comments, would you like a full frame setup above 2000 meters or are you sticking with lighter systems? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next trip or in the studio. God bless you!